realize it was you, that you were the mayor. My name is Melody Baker. A few of you do know me. The majority of you do not. I moved here from California for health reasons. One of the things, when I first moved here, I had a different service dog that had been trained in California. As you can see, Sheila is identified by a vest and an ID card. No, these are not required by the ADA, but it is recommended, and there is 2 registered. Now, the other day, last week, we had an unusual situation, and he bent over, crouched a little, and put his hand out. Sheila barked at him. The guy looks up at me and he says, "Is it okay if I pet her?" And I said, "Well, you kind of should have asked beforehand," which is the rule. You're supposed to ask before you approach and pet a service dog. I said, "But it's okay. Sheila, say hello." She would not. She's not going to say hello, and she left, and he left. I started to reprimand Sheila for doing that. Deputy Stanton informed me not to. He was an off-duty cop and he had his gun on him. Dog. That confirmed. We checked. She actually was initially an IED. It provides explosive devices, dog, in Afghanistan. So, when she was separated, so all I ask is, federal law does protect service dogs. It's in the ADA. To their charter, that the ADA be required and recognized and implemented. She got kicked the other day on Main Street by a woman.
Well,
Thank you.
And thank you very much.
And yes, I also am a veteran.
Thank you very much for your service. I appreciate it. All righty. Anybody else wishing to speak on anything that is not?
Something that has been missing from city code and from the city manager's fee structure. We don't have established anywhere formally a residential parking permit. We've done some, just a handful of them have been done through more unofficial capacities, but we don't have an official one. So what we're proposing is we add a formal one that would follow the same calendar year, the same fee year that all our other permits do, allowing residents of the downtown area to park in the off-street 24 hours a day in the Aspen and Juniper lots. They would not be allowed to park anywhere on street throughout the night or for longer than the 2 hours requirements, the 2-hour limitations that exist currently. This is also something that was a goal, a stated goal of this committee in the annual budget process this last year. Was asked that this be addressed and put into the fee schedule. The Downtown Parking Committee met last month on November 14th, discussed this and recommended that such permit should be $300 a year or $25 per month as prorated throughout the fee year. It would give overnight access to those 2 lots, allowing residents to park there. Another stated goal of this commission was to look at ways to make the Downtown Parking Committee, the Downtown Parking Fund rather, self-sufficient. We're currently in a state where we're not doing a whole lot of ongoing maintenance, so we're not doing what it takes to maintain our parking lots, and we're still requiring some subsidies from the general fund. So looking at ways to make this fund self-sufficient and make sure that we can address those ongoing maintenance costs were some considerations into this, as well as looking at our current reserved permit which is the same price as what the downtown parking committee has recommended. The other two items are a bit simpler. The first is to move these fees, including this fee and employee fees, reserve fees, other downtown parking fees, incorporate them into the city manager's fee schedule, just because that gets a more periodic review than an item has to be brought specifically to council. So this allows city staff to go through periodically and make sure that they're staying current and our fund is staying on top of each other. The city council would still have the complete authority to take an item out of the fee schedule if they find it to be objectionable. So this wouldn't be stripping the council of its authority to review these fees in any capacity. It would just be incorporating them into a larger process that's already being undertaken. Finally, the third change is to move the fee year to the calendar year. City code has it spelled out where these fees are supposed to be assessed and permits given on the fiscal year from July through June. The city practice has been to give these permits along with business licenses, which we currently do under the calendar year. So that makes a lot more sense for city staff. And that's something that we think that a change in code to reflect that would be worthwhile. So if the city council, anyone has any questions, I'd be happy to answer them for you.
Okay. Any questions? Councilman Dodson.
How do we come up with $300?
A couple different ways. The committee first looked at the current costs of reserve permits because those are the most equivalent thing we have to them downtown. So you can pick a spot and a lot and reserve a space in that lot. So that's the most similar structure we have to it right now. Additionally, I ran some cost projections to determine what it would take to make this fund self-sufficient going forward, and the numbers, and I can give you those numbers if you'd like. It was, if we incorporate the ongoing maintenance that we have not yet been doing but intend to do in the future, to parking lots, in order to maintain this fund without general fund subsidies, it would be for all permits, including employee permits, which we're charging nowhere near the current price for. We're charging $45 to $65 respectively for part-time and full-time. All the permits would need to be closer to $175 or even $200. We also received input from individuals who will be moving into the downtown area through Oregon Health Science University. They're renting several rooms for their students. So we looked at other cities around the state to see how much they charge, and this was a number that was, it's certainly not set in stone or anything, and you all have the ability to amend it if you feel it should be something different. But these are all considerations we put into it. Other cities around the state charge more or less depending on where they are for similar permits.
Councilman Tobin.
I can understand $300 if you have a reserve spot in one of the lots. But if I have an apartment somewhere downtown and I leave in the morning and come back at 6 or 7 o'clock at night and I park on the street and I'm there during the night, if it's on-street parking, I think $300 is a little steep. I can understand the reserve spot, but I'm having difficulty with $300 to park, say, on Pine Street, 8 o'clock at night until 8 o'clock in the morning. I don't know.
Yeah, Councilman Toffel, so this doesn't have a reserved space, but it is in an off-street lot parking as opposed to on-street parking. So the overnight requirement that streets be clear for snow plowing and other whatnot, that would still remain in effect. So you could not park overnight on the street with this permit.
That only applies to the winter months, correct? Or is it no parking year-round?
It's year round. We also have street sweeping schedules and those kinds of things that happen during the night. And it's difficult to say no parking, or parking is allowed except for this day. So it traditionally have been no parking after a certain time.
Councilwoman Bell. Councilwoman Bell.
Describe the community outreach process for this parking commission that went through this to come up with this new.
The outreach process, well, there wasn't a whole lot of outreach to do. Currently, we only have a handful of residents that exist in the downtown area, or at least have permits for them. And our current practice has been to give permits for a period of years at a time. So that there were permits that were issued years ago that, you know, will still be valid through 2020 or whatnot. We really don't have a way to verify whether those residents still live in those apartments. But we did reach out to and speak with Oregon Health Science University, who we expect to be the major tenant downtown as they bring in residents. But aside from that entity, I think the number of people that have this permit, or what has existed as a permit, is probably between 4 and 6. So we have not reached out to those individuals specifically, aside from this being up the other night and going through the downtown parking committee, which itself represents the citizens of the city.
So when the parking, I'm sorry, I'll clarify a little bit. When the parking commission met to discuss this, was it open to the public, or was the
Yes.
public invited? Okay.
Yes.
Councilman Adams.
Well, $25 a month doesn't seem like a lot to park, particularly if you live in the Portland area or somewhere like that. I look at that, we're letting people park in the lots downtown for 60, 70 bucks a year. And really the only time that it's hard to find a place to park would be in the 8 to 5. Parking overnight downtown doesn't really create a lot of problems. It would be nice to have a specific place for it, but as much work as we've gone to try and increase upstairs housing in the downtown area, I think anything like this gets done that is going to hinder people wanting to move downtown when spaces are available, I think makes it really difficult. I would certainly not like to see a fee, at least of this amount, go into place. And I suspect there's at least one person in the audience that'll want to speak to that. I'm not sure if there's others, but I was involved with the downtown urban renewal district and parking district before everything was rearranged. And, you know, nothing like that ever came before us at that point in time.
Of the parking district. Right now, according to the map they have, they want to include both sides of Main Street between 11th and 12th Street. And in front of my building, both of the businesses that exist on the ground floor, they both have customers that often park longer than 2 hours. We don't have any parking problems with employees parking in front of our building. And it's the customers that like those spots. In some cases, it's the mothers of kids that they just want to park there and go right inside to jumping jacks, or the basing gaming. They're there for hours and hours. So I would like to see the expansion just go right down the middle of the block and just include the park side, with the understanding that if in the future the people playing in the park are taking over that parking and we're not able to use it anyway, that we could change it and expand it across the street. But right now, we don't have a problem, and this is gonna make a problem. This is gonna create a situation where customers are gonna get parking tickets, or they've never gotten parking tickets before. And I understand that the man that gives the parking tickets has salary requirements that you guys have to meet, but I don't think this is helping on that particular section. As for the other issue is the employees paying, as my understanding, even if a business has their own private parking for their employees, they still have to pay the employee parking, the proposed employee parking fee. Is that correct?
There is a reduced cost for that fee.
There's a reduced cost.
It's $35 off.
Yeah, it's like half or 30.
Yeah.
So we have plenty of parking for all of our employees, and I don't think it's fair to charge, I have to pay for the maintenance of those parking lots, and then go ahead and charge me as well, or the businesses for their employees that aren't even parking on the street. So that's my opinion on that.
So, thank you for your comments, sir.
Yeah.
This item was actually moved from the agenda. We're not addressing this item tonight. Actually, it was pulled from the agenda, and I apologize because myself and some other staff did some outreach for this one. Yeah, this was pulled from the agenda.
Oh, the expansion isn't?
Yeah, we're not addressing that tonight, actually.
Okay, so I'll just address well, I said my fees, maybe I don't come back. And then but the employee thing, I think, if a business has their own parking that they're paying to maintain, they should not be charged a fee to maintain city lots for somebody else. It's just not legitimate. That's my opinion. Thank you for your time.